Welcome to the Get Fit Guys, quick and dirty tips to get moving and shape up. My name is Brock Armstrong, and I'm the Get Fit Guy. Whether you call it a half-dome BOSU balance trainer or just a BOSU, this fitness training device consists of an inflated rubber hemisphere attached to a rigid, flat plastic platform. And because it looks like a stability ball that's been cut in half, you may have even heard it referred to as the half blue ball. But the name BOSU is actually an acronym for both sides up or both sides utilized, because this versatile little fitness pillow can be used with either the dome side or the platform side facing up. The BOSU was originally developed to train balance because when the dome side is facing up, it provides the user with an unstable surface to stand on while the entire device itself remains completely still. And if the flat side is facing up, it provides a solid surface that has an unstable base. And it is this combination of still, flat, and unstable that makes this device so versatile and so useful. The BOSU's half-dome, half-platform can help improve your balance, stability, mobility, and strength depending on how you use it. The BOSU's unique shape can make it the perfect item for spicing up your home gym. Now, in a scientific study, researchers found that 12 weeks of proprioception training on a BOSU and Swiss ball was effective in postural stability, static balance, and dynamic balance. They actually concluded that using a BOSU could lead to an improvement in gait and balance capacity and decrease the risk of falling in adults age 65 and older. Now, these results were seen after volunteers did various standing and sitting exercises with their eyes open and closed twice a week for 50 minutes each session. While balance is made up of many components, including the vestibular system, the inner ear, and the pathways to the brainstem, a portion of these successful results was attributed to an increase in the participants' core strength. Now, it's easy to see how a device like this would benefit and build our balance, much in the same way that walking on uneven ground or doing an obstacle course would, but one of the most impressive features of the BOSU is how effective it is at building core strength. Any core work you do using an unstable surface will be intensified due to the need to use your stabilizer muscles. These muscles can remain relatively untouched when you do a basic crunch or a bird dog on solid ground. But as soon as your body needs to fight to remain in a stable position, well, that changes. Your body can't simply rely on those big muscles to keep you upright while performing the exercise, so those important and often underused muscles need to get involved. You already know that exercises like planks strengthen your core muscles more effectively than exercises like crunches. And, well, if you don't, check out my article called How to Plank Like a Pro, and I'll link to that in the show notes. So it won't come as any surprise when I suggest that doing something even as simple as a plank on a BOSU with its unsteady surface turns the benefits up to 11. Now, let's look at some quick and dirty BOSU core exercises. Now, in my podcast episode and article called Don't Ignore Your Core, I explained how building a strong and stable core is arguably the most critical part of any exercise program, especially if you have plans on continuing to be mobile and fit well into your senior years. Well, if you took those words of advice to heart and have access to a BOSU ball, here are some exercises that you can crank up by adding in the magic combination of unstable and stable that the BOSU does so well. But here's an important point. Only add the BOSU to the mix if you have been doing each of these exercises on stable ground for quite some time. You need to be proficient at each before you start doing them on an unstable surface. Okay? All right, here's the first exercise. Plank. Now, to do a basic plank, lie face down on the floor. A soft mat can make this more comfortable. And place your elbows directly under your shoulders and align your wrists with your elbows. Push your body up so you create a straight and flat line from your toes to your head. Keep your chin tucked in close to your neck. Think about holding a tennis ball under your chin to do that. Engage your abs like you're about to be punched in the stomach and squeeze your gluteal or your tailbone and thigh muscles simultaneously. Breathe normally. Hold this plank position for a few seconds at first and increase the duration over time. Now, if you want to do this on a BOSU ball, place the BOSU dome side down on the floor and get into a plank position by placing your hands on either side of the flat plastic surface. Now, make sure your hands are directly beneath your shoulders and that your hips stay nice and lifted. And here's a quick tip. You can also do an elevated feet version if you place your BOSU dome side up and put your feet on it instead of your hands. Now, because your feet are placed on an unstable surface, your lower core stability muscles do more of the work. And the next exercise is marching bridge. To do this basic movement, you just start on your back, hips pressed up to the ceiling, body weight resting on your shoulders, feet in a parallel position and arms by your side. Then you squeeze your glutes before lifting the right knee to 90 degrees. Pause, and then place your right foot back down. Re-engage your glutes again before you lift the left knee up to 90 degrees. Then pause and place that foot back down. Now, if you want to do this on a BOSU, place the BOSU dome side down so you can get your feet on its flat platform. So having your feet stable, but the platform that you're resting on unstable, can add a challenging aspect to this movement. And the next exercise is the dead bug. To do this basic movement, get on your back, spine neutral, with both knees lifted to 90 degrees directly over your hips. Then reach your arms up towards the ceiling, right above your shoulders. Extend your right leg forward and reach your left arm back without moving the rest of your body. Then return back to that starting position and then extend your left leg forward and reach your right arm back and return to the starting position. Now, to do this on a BOSU, place the BOSU dome side up on the floor and then position yourself face up on the ball. Now, make sure your back is following the curve of the ball before you raise your knees up to 90 degrees above your hips. Now, try to stay as still as possible while you go through the motions that I described earlier. And the next exercise is the bird dog. Now, to do this basic movement, start on all fours with your wrists under your shoulders and your knees under your hips. Keep your spine long and neutral and extend your right leg back while you reach your left arm forward. Pause and then lower both of the limbs. Then extend your left leg back and reach your right arm forward. Pause and then lower those limbs. Now, to do this on a BOSU, place your BOSU dome side up and get onto all fours with your hands and knees on the squishy ball surface. You'll likely notice that your hands and knees are closer together than when you did this movement on the flat ground, and that's okay. In fact, this actually creates more instability, which increases the need for your stabilizer muscles to get involved. And the next exercise is knee hovers. To do this basic movement, you start on all fours again with your wrists under your shoulders and your knees under your hips. Then tuck your toes and then lift or float your knees off the ground, just an inch or a few centimeters off the floor without changing the shape of your spine or collapsing your pelvis. Hold this position for a few breaths and then lower your knees back down. Now, to do this on a BOSU, place the BOSU dome side down and put your feet on the flat plastic surface. Now, when you raise your knees off the ground, you'll be fighting the instability of your feet while also supporting your body weight with your hands and toes. And the next exercise is mountain climber. And to do this basic movement, you start on all fours, the same as all the others, and get into a high plank position, like starting a push-up. Your hands stacked below your shoulders and your body in one straight line. Make sure your neck stays in line with your body. Then quickly draw your right knee up to your chest and then immediately extend it back down as you drive your left knee up to your chest. Now, to raise your heart rate, run your knees in and out as quickly as you can. Now, to do this on a BOSU ball, place your BOSU dome side down and take a firm grip on either side of the flat platform. Make sure your hands are beneath your shoulders, not out in front or behind. As you do the mountain climber movement, as I described earlier, use your stabilizer muscles to keep the BOSU as flat and still as possible. And the final exercise is resistance band torso twists. Now, to do this basic movement, in a standing position, tie one end of a resistance band to a sturdy anchor at chest height and hold on to the other end. Stand with your feet shoulder width apart and reach across your body to grasp the band with both hands with nice long arms. Then rotate your torso and guide the band horizontally across your body. Then slowly and with control, rotate back to the starting position. Now to do this with a BOSU, place the BOSU dome side up and stand on the squishy ball part. And once you've got your balance, perform the torso twists while also trying to keep balanced and your weight evenly on both feet. Now, my favorite way to use all of these exercises in a workout is to mix them in with a blast of high-intensity movement, like running on the spot with high knees, or burpees, or jumping rope, or jumping jacks. By mixing your core exercises with some periods of high intensity, you can get the best of both worlds, a good cardiovascular boost and solid strength training. For example, a BOSU core circuit could go like this: 10 BOSU bird dogs, 10 BOSU marching bridges, 30 seconds of running with high knees, not on the BOSU, then hold BOSU elevated planks until failure, and then repeat this all 3 or 4 times through. Now finally, here is a word of caution. You may see people online or at your gym doing things like weighted squats or lunges on a BOSU. Now, while this looks impressive, I don't believe it is worth the risk. The instability that we actually relied on during the exercises I described earlier can become a detriment when weight is added to joints like knees and ankles and hips. If you want to increase the difficulty of something like a dumbbell squat to overhead press, a movement which I have seen done on a BOSU, yikes, well, simply increase the weight of the dumbbell that you're using. Don't try to do that movement on something like a BOSU. The risk to reward ratio is simply too high. All right, that's it for this week. Don't forget to tune in next week, though, because I have a special guest coming on the show to talk about something called primal play and how we can use it to make our exercise more enjoyable. Now, my name is Brock Armstrong. I'm the Get Fit Guy, asking you, what are you waiting for? Get out there and build some stability.